Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Now, today I have a very short story for you about my wife, Mrs. R&R. Okay? Now, you may notice I highlight some vocabulary in this story. Okay? So I'm just going to tell you the story. It's very short, and then we'll have a chat about it afterwards. Okay? So, are you ready? Let's go. Now, my relationship with my wife is fantastic. Now, I think there are many reasons for this, but I also put it down to the fact that I speak Italian every day with her, as I think speaking in a different language every day is something that really gets me going, as life is never boring. Sure, the excitement of speaking another language has worn off a bit compared to the early days, but I still enjoy it. Obviously, I still make mistakes in Italian, and I wonder if these grammatical mistakes that I make grate on my wife a bit, or if she finds me less sexy because of these annoying grammar mistakes, as years of grammar mistakes really do start to take their toll on a person's mental health. Anyway, I thought it would be difficult to talk a foreign language all the time at home, like when I'm tired after work, but it's so normal for me now that it's just like second nature to me. So, did you enjoy that story? It's a true story, but you may have noticed I used quite a lot of interesting vocabulary. I used the term put it down to the fact. I said speaking a different language really gets me going, but the excitement has maybe worn off a bit. I also mentioned how my grammar mistakes may be great on my wife because after a while, grammar mistakes really take their toll on a person. And I also said how speaking a second language has just become like second nature to me now. Now, all of this vocabulary in that short story. Wow. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because that story has been taken from my 14-day vocabulary challenge. And if you have not done that vocabulary challenge, what is wrong with you? Because the challenge is free. You will learn lots of vocabulary, like all of the vocabulary I mentioned, just from listening to stories like the story that you just listened to. And there are even much better stories, much funnier stories in the challenge. Now, if you don't know how it works, you can click the link inside the podcast you're listening to. But just to quickly tell you, all of that vocabulary that you heard, things like second nature, grate on me, take its toll, all of those pieces of vocabulary are repeated in stories constantly in this vocabulary challenge. So in one day of the challenge, you will listen to 4 short stories like you just listened to, with the vocabulary constantly repeated in different contexts because it's in different stories, and then you remember the vocabulary naturally. You do not need to study. That is why this challenge has been created for lazy people, or just busy people, because I imagine, like me, you are more busy than lazy. So if you enjoyed that story and maybe even learnt a new piece of vocabulary, take the challenge, because maybe you learned a new piece of vocabulary. Maybe you had never heard of the term second nature to me, for example, but the likelihood of you remembering that is very low. There's a very low probability that you are going to remember it. However, if you take my challenge, that term will be constantly repeated in different contexts and it will stick in your head naturally. Okay, so if you are interested in learning high level advanced English vocabulary and you have no time to study, this is the challenge for you. And if you have done these free challenges on the internet in the past and not completed them, again, this is the challenge for you, because you only need to put in those headphones and listen. And each episode is less than 10 minutes long. So you can literally do this when you're taking the dog for a walk. So the challenge starts next Tuesday, on Tuesday the 28th of October. I only run this a few times a year now. Okay, so the next one will most likely be next year. So make sure you take this opportunity to take this challenge. It's fun. It works and it's free. So what the hell are you thinking? Take it. And there will be lots of other random stories about my wife, getting drunk, a dentist named Dave, and lots of other completely random things. So again, click the link in the podcast you are listening to right now. I will see you in the challenge. It starts on the 28th of October. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.